I've been watching videos lately reviewing Cold Steel's heavy-duty sword cane, and I feel that there's some misinformation as well as missing information. Granted, people have different circumstances in different parts of the world and different opinions. So I may be right, I may be wrong, it's your option. Before I go further, let me say this. I bought this cane in the later part of the first year that Cold Steel introduced these. And it's the same type that people are doing reviews on. It's made of, or the blade is made of 1055 steel. And I recently checked just before making the video various vendors online, and they're still selling this. I also took the precaution to check with Cold Steel's website, and they're still advertising a heavy-duty sword cane that looks just like this. But reading the literature, they state reissue. I didn't know Cold Steel had discontinued the model, but then I don't keep up with it. They're also stating a stainless steel blade, which that's going to make some people happy. I prefer the carbon steel. I don't think stainless steel is going to have an adverse effect in this blade, although generally speaking, stainless steel is not preferred for sword blades. They don't state what type of steel, just stainless. And the weight is a little bit different. So if anyone out there is planning on ordering a heavy-duty sword cane, it might be good to check with the vendor and make sure he's sending you the model that you like. I'm going to do this video a little bit differently than most reviews. I'm going to bring in other products to get a better comparison how this compares with what's out there in the market in general. Most of the reviewers bring up the fact there are poor quality sword canes, and there are abundance of these things. However, there are a number of good canes, including sword canes, that they fail to mention. To know where I'm coming from, I like canes. In fact, probably like them too much. I got carried away and got too large of a collection before I had to put the brakes on it. This is one of my racks. I have studied stick fighting. I'm familiar with the bow. I prefer a cane when it comes to stick fighting. I've had experience in combat in the streets more than once. I also like swords, got a fondness of swords. With that background, I dare say I'm, with all due respect, more qualified than the other people who have done the reviews. We had a volcano erupt 2 days ago, and there's still some ash in the air that's irritating. I'm going to do this video in 2 parts. I'm afraid it's going to last a little longer than I would like, and that'll make a good break. In the first part, I'm going to talk about the cane as such. In the second part, I'm going to talk about the blade. To give you my expectations of a cane, first and foremost, it's a walking aid, and I think everyone out there is going to agree. Since I started using the cane, I have not fallen. Well, I did one time. I was walking on a wet, grassy slope, and before I knew it, my feet wet. Other than that, I have not fallen since I started carrying a cane, and everybody in my country can expect to fall. It's just a question of when and to the extent of the injury, if at all. The first night I was here, I fell. I had a contusion on the thorax. Actually, it was more than thorax. It was down my left side. It was tender and discolored for a good week there afterwards, and it took another week or so for it to completely heal. I had a friend to come to visit me. He brought his boy. A little bit of a misnomer because his boy was at least 40. I don't know how old he is, but he's at least 40. And before he could leave the taxi and walk to my front gate, he fell, injured his elbow, and spent his 2-week vacation in the hospital where he underwent one operation. When he went home, he had a second operation, and I don't know how long he was in the hospital at that time. So people fall. This is due to the conditions. The pavement is uneven, it's broken, it has holes. Sometimes the pavement is non-existent. Maybe walk on rocks, the rock will roll, whatever. And people go down. I'm going to interrupt the video at this point to show you what I walk over daily. Now these shots were made out of convenience near my house. There are conditions that are better than this. There are conditions that are worse. But this is representative. Okay, with that out of the way, let me explain my expectations again. As I said, it's a walking aid, but since I started carrying the cane, I found uses I hadn't even imagined. Being from the old school, I was taught pointing my fingers bad. The cane makes a good indicator. It also makes a good seat. Which I'll use often. I use often. A back scratcher. It's also a weapon. I find that when I get on a crowded bus, I'm far more likely to have someone get up and offer me their seat with a cane than without the cane. And ditto for crossing a street. Traffic is more likely to stop and allow me to pass. Going back to the bus, this pushes very well. And I got a ceiling fan above there, so I have to be careful. But on the bus, there's a cable. Well, sometimes there's a cable above. People pull to indicate bus stop. They stand up, pull, then sit back down until the bus gets to the stop. With the cane, I can reach up, I can trip it without even getting out of my seat. If they have a button type alarm or indicator, I can press it. In addition, getting off the bus, frequently people don't pay attention and they start loading, start coming up the steps before I have a chance to get off. Believe me, this clears the steps quickly. Talking about pushing, for a reach, it reaches. There's a light button there, a button on the elevator. I want to push things out of my way. If there's debris on the street, I can push it out of the way. Door knocker. Very effective door knocker. Also works on a window pane, but be careful on the window pane. I was in a store earlier this week to pay a bill. They had no customers and only 2 employees when I entered. There's an internet cafe that did other things on the side. One of the employees was busy with the computer towards the rear of the store, and the other one was too busy sweeping the floor to want it to be disturbed. So they kind of ignored me. After some seconds, the one that's sweeping the floor reached in her pocket, pulled out a box, pushed some buttons, stuck it to her ear, and a few minutes later she put it back and continued to do her thing. At this point I'm getting a little bit pissed. I rapped on the counter, I got her attention, I don't think she liked it, but I got serviced. And while she was doing her thing, I thought about something I hadn't thought about in years. At one time in England, I don't know, 17th, 18th century, maybe the 19th century, probably between the 18th and 19th century, a man was required to be licensed to carry a cane. And one of the things that stipulated in the license that he would not beat on the counter for service. I did work well. Oh, I can go on, but I think you get the gist. With my normal street canes, I can pull, and I do frequently. I don't advise pulling with a sword cane, this or any other. The blade is fairly secure in this, but it would get embarrassing to pull and have the blade pop out. With that out of the way, let's get down to business and talk about this as a cane. This one weighs 1.07 kilos, or about 2 1/3 pounds in the other system, which I find a little bit confusing. Cultivativa lists the weight as 1 pound 2 1/2 ounces. One of the reviewers who probably saw that and did no more research took it as fact, and he had his cane complete in his hand, and he's talking about, oh, it's not heavy, it's only just over a pound, blah, blah, blah. But the first thing I noticed when I picked this thing up on receipt, this thing's heavy. My normal street canes are about half a kilo, half the weight of this. So, I don't find the weight having any adverse effect after about a month when it gets used to it. Actually, it has more momentum, more inertia. Another thing, I attract people's attention when they ignore me. Don't have to do it hard, just tap the leg and I have their attention. Very effective at that. The new version, the cold steel is staying at 29 ounces. In its entirety, this thing weighs a kilo. The blade itself weighs about half a kilo. It's 37.5 inches long. Some people complain about the length. My length is 37 inches, and with this half inch longer, it gives me no problem. A lot of people don't know anyone, well, I heard of anyone who've actually cut the shaft, but they talk about cutting the shaft. If you cut from this end, the blade comes down about right here. Don't know if I mentioned or not, but we had a volcano about 2 days ago, and the ash is still in the air. It's irritating. So you have plenty of room to cut. If you cut, find someone with a lathe. If you can't, take it to a machine shop. Don't try it with a hacksaw. If worse comes to worse, a tube cutter may work. The disadvantage is tube cutters are designed for soft metals like copper. This metal is not soft and it's going to work you. But if you have patience, yeah, it'll probably work. All the reviewers talk about the ability to change the cane tip. Well, all canes. It's back to the game. The tips wore out, had to be changed. They talk about there's a virtue with cold steel. You're able to, when it wears out, the tip, change, put another one on. I suggest you do that as soon as possible upon receiving the cane. I can't single out cold steel as having a bad tip, but all the cane tips I've received on sword canes have been made of some type of plastic. They're good at dampening the sound, and it's noisy when the tip does hit pavement. That dampens the sound and also dampens the shock a little bit from the ground. The downside is that they don't give much adhesion. As long as things are not too badly out of shape, yeah, they'll keep you upright. But in inclement weather, when it's wet, when the pavement is smooth and wet, or even if you put too much of an angle on the tip, it's going to let go and you're going to go down. I replaced this one. That's about as far out as I can reach. I can go further, but then I bend and the angle still remains about the same to the ground. That's about 45 degrees. I'm on one leg. I'm not going anywhere. That is a good solid grip. Let me check my batteries. Okay, they're fine. I did notice when I took the tip off, of course, still had a plug in the end. That's why I suggested to cut from this end. Now, let's get to the handle. And this is where cold steel messed up miserably. It's the worst handle I have ever seen with a cane or sword cane either. There's a small hole here. I don't really know what that's for. One reviewer thought it's for a wrist strap. It's rather small for a wrist strap. I can get a 550 cord through it with patience. It doesn't want to go readily. And even if I got the cord through, as narrow as that cord is and the weight of the cane, it will be uncomfortable. A wrist strap with this is important. Of course, they would design the handle properly. It would not be so important. Yeah, let's do it this way. We'll talk about this later. This is a wrist strap. It has two loops. One's of elastic at one end and the other is just a fabric at the other. They come in different sizes. And this one is just large enough I can squeeze over the shaft. It won't fit over the tip, it won't fit over the handle. But I can put it over the shaft. And once you get it on, don't forget to get it off the shaft. If you have it on the shaft and go to pull it with your wrist in place, it's going to lock you up. Look. The importance of this, it will free your hands. There are times that you will need both hands free. For example, getting a key. Now it's possible to thumb through this mess with one hand, but it's a whole lot easier to use two. Get the cash register, get the billfold out, get the coin, the money out, bills probably. Pay the cashier, she's going to give you back coins, she's going to give you back folding money, as well as a receipt. It's much easier to use two hands to care for them. Then you can return to the cane. Let me check the battery again. I'm getting worried about that thing. All is still good. Oh, how about that hole? And using it as a makeshift wrist strap. The only thing I can figure that hole is for, I question if it's for a wrist strap. The only thing I can possibly figure is to drive a nail in the wall. Ooh, I'm off camera. Drive a nail, finishing nail, in the wall, in a convenient location, near a door, if you will. And hang this on the nail. As you leave the house, you grab it. As you come back, hang it back up on the wall. That's the only thing I can figure. I don't normally keep the wrist straps on because the light shortens the life of the event. Keep them stored in a dark box. Okay, handle. This is the real gun. It's sufficient to hang on to the cane to walk. And normally I don't carry a cane by the handle. I carry it just above the balance. I find it much better that way. If I get in a situation where I'm expected to have use of the cane, such as crossing the street, on the bus, looking for a seat, act out the part and use the handle. Otherwise, no. Show you the fallacy of this before I go further. To free the hand, and you saw me do this earlier, yeah, I can hang it here, but it's only hanging by a thread. If I move in the wrong direction, or I start to say too fast, but even at a normal speed, it's likely to fall. In the market, represents the handle of a shopping cart. I can hang it on the handle, and if I was actually pushing the cart, I'd grasp the cart's handle and this together, and it's secure. The problem is, if I want to reach over here for the groceries or what have you, and someone decides the cart's in the way, give the cart a push, this, in all likelihood, will wind up on the floor. It's embarrassing. And, oh, I don't have it here. Let me go and get it, just a moment. Okay, normally in the street, I carry a backpack. Rarely am I in the streets without my backpack. And I find the strap is a convenient holder for the cane. However, in this case, with cold steel's handle, if I move, even if I try to move carefully, I've done this too many times, so I know that thing's gonna fall. It just hangs by a thread. It would not have been much out of cold steel's way, and certainly not cost but just a penny or two additional for additional materials. But to design this handle as a Fritz handle, and this is a Fritz. The stud here is important for normal use. It has several functions, but for the cane, sword cane, not so much so. This is what they should have done. Just extend the handle a little further and put a drop to it. I put this on my arm, it's not going anywhere. In fact, I don't even need to change arms, I can do it all with one hand. For the backpack, I can do anything I want, it's going to stay there. Ditto for the shopping cart. That little extra would have done so much to improve the handling of the cane. It's a real shame they didn't have the foresight to do that. To carry this a step further, if they, and what I was talking about first is just to put a hook on the end of it. If they extended this part a little bit, oh gee, there are so many things you can do with that cane. This is too small. I can't really get my full hand in there. But then this grip was not designed, it was designed to be carried like this. This is one of my street canes. In fact, this is my favorite cane here. By really extending the crook, and this is called a Stockman's crook, it's an oversized crook. I can grab many things with it. Take a leg, take a neck, but there's plenty of room. And with this, I can do twirls, I can do spins, I can even make the cane act somewhat as a tumpa. I don't have space here, particularly with that thing up above me. It get real hairy. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to relocate outside where I have more room, and I can show you the value of spins and twirls. They are an excellent defensive maneuver. Okay, this is a spin, this is a twirl. And you can hook them together. Very effective defense. As far as using this as a tumble, it goes something like this. Not much telegraphy, and I yet have the first target. Never had hit more than one time. Whether it be a dog, whether it be a robber, whatever. Only one time. Very effective. Oh, yeah, I've never had hit more than one time, but if that has me to be true next time. Normally when the cane, I'm standing here, normally when the cane hits, it's going to bounce back a little bit, start from inertia again, and do this follow through, get the second stroke. Quite effective. Well, I'll do the first today. Okay, to sum this thing up with the K's. This will get the job done most of the time. I say most of the time because I'm subject to metal detectors frequently. And metal detectors and sword canes in general do not get along. In fact, one place I go, had to pass a metal detector and then X-ray. Not a good scene for this. Also, to travel internationally, especially if I go to the US, I'm a little paranoid now. I guarantee you, if I went to the airport with this, I would miss my flight, and that would be an understatement. Actually, even now, I would not carry this cane. Right after 9/11, Grandmaster Shuey tried to take his cane on a flight, and they took it from him because of the point. And so I heed his situation. When I travel, this is normally what I would travel with. It's a tamed down version. This horn still makes a pretty good come along, but it's not pointed. They don't heed me at all. They just let me pass. I did go to the embassy one day. I picked this up without thinking I did it out of habit. And yeah, they let me pass, but the guard gave me a look like, hey boy, I know what you got there. I know what you got. But he let me pass. And I don't feel handicapped at all with this. The big issue, aside from metal detectors, and this is a whole lot more versatile than that. If I have an instant in the street and I wrap somebody with this, I may break a bone, maybe. And if I do, he would go to the hospital, and he's certainly not going to make the statement, well, shucks, I was only going to take a little bit of his money, and he got all bent out of shape, and look what he did. He would probably make up some bull story about fell in the street, which is plausible here. I can wrap somebody with this, but this is a lot more maneuverable. And I certainly would before I pull the blade. If I had to pull the blade and use it and play sticky stick, when the subject got to the hospital, and hospitals being what they are and reports being what they are, the police are going to get involved. And when the police get involved, lawyers get involved. And the lawyer is going to be the winner, I guarantee you. Whole lot rather have one of these.